So, we managed to find an opponent. Let's hope he plays something competitive. Not the usual boring Uber stacks bullshit everyone is playing at the moment online. I mean, the matchup would be kind of okay, but it's just really boring, in my opinion. I play Remora right off the bat because I can repeal it, and it's just not worth it to wait until I get more mana, I guess, because he can play stuff like Moxen. It's actually a reasonably good draw. Let's hope he doesn't play Goblin Electromancer. Okay, fair enough. I was expecting something like Dark Confident or Young Pyromancer. But this is fine, honestly. I don't mind him playing this card at this point. I think I'll try to cast Paradoxical Outcome actually, because drawing 3 cards is fine. It's kind of greedy. Actually, I can delay for another turn. I probably need to force this. Mostly because it's a creature. You can see the Remora already doing its job in the delaying aspect, and it is not unlikely that I lose to this 2/2 drop he played. Well, we shall see. I wish I had like something like an academy to bounce this Electromancer. Be really useful. Well, this sucks. He's very likely going to cast counter magic even into Remora. But you can see how Remora works. It's not drawing an absurd amount of cards, it's more about delaying the game. And it makes him think twice about countering outcome. Even though from my point of view it's kind of a no-brainer. Because if he let it resolve, I can recast Remora. It's a pretty good draw. Quite happy with this. I'm not sure how I want to proceed from this point exactly. Let's see if we can find something with repeal. This is kind of typical for outcome in my experience. You just get stranded with like outcome and stuff like that. Probably have to counter this. I wish this was a fetch lamp because Empty the Warrens would be really strong. It depends on what he's going to play, whether I cast outcome or not. Oh, come on. It's frustrating. I hope he actually disconnected and not just straight up left the game, but judging from his deck list, it's kind of experimental. I've seen Baral work, but Electromancer? Seriously? I guess he left. Let's kick him. And hope somebody joins again really quickly. Otherwise I have to restart the video. This is the issue with Cockatrice. It's like semi-competitive occasionally, but there's also quite a bit of decent players and that are nice, don't disconnect, play good decks. There's some really good players on Cockatrice, but apparently nobody wants to play against me. Actually, there's a game open. Maybe I should just join this one. This is again quite typical for Remora deck, for paradoxical outcome decks. You just get stranded with a bunch of bullshit. And this is a terrible matchup, especially pre-board. It's like most of my deck does nothing against him. If he plays like a Thought-Knot or something, I'm almost pretty screwed. Yeah, I expected. This sucks. This sucks really bad. This sucks even more. I mean, I can play Remora. It doesn't really do anything, but it's just there's nothing I can do. I can't really interact with him at this point. And since I didn't have the proper spells to flip Erayo, which usually is pretty strong, I decided to keep the land. This is an odd build though, Mishra's Workshop. I haven't seen that in a long time. I'm actually doing this wrong. I'm supposed to... Oh. I'm supposed to look at the top before I decide whether I want to keep the Remora or not. I mean, this game is pretty much over anyways. At least my opal is enabled, so if I draw a third outcome, could be fine. Man, this sucks. At least I can potentially counter something like Reality Smasher. This matchup is terrible, honestly. I probably have to force this. Yeah, I guess. So I do know I'm drawing a soul ring, and I basically need to find outcome at this point or I'm going to lose the game, which conveniently is on top. But it's just going to draw 3 cards because I messed up and I didn't check top during my upkeep. Which kind of sucks because that would give me another 2 cards, because since I standing top it draws... Keep misclicking. Because top draws actually 2 cards if you sequence correctly. But it is very likely that I'm just dead. Or not. I mean, this works. I can't actually play the top, which significantly weakens outcome again. And I'm not even sure I can win anymore, because this draw has almost been perfect. I need something like a time walk. Oh, this is hilarious actually. Do I want to play the crypt? I guess not. But I do, however, like to look at my top 3 cards. This is all quite bad. What I really need is a Snapcaster Mage, and then I basically won the game. Let's hope for the best, guys. Fingers crossed. Snapcaster Mage, come on. This does nothing. I just concede. Sideboarding against this list can be awkward. This is good. I guess he plays Wastelands. I guess he plays Spheres. because he's not playing white, Electricity and Elemental are dead. But I do, however, have some decent removal options, and I board out all the weak counter magic, of course. Probably one repeal is fine. Probably. And I definitely don't really need Remora. Can be fine on the play. I think I'll try something like this. No land, what a shame. No land, what a shame. This is keepable, honestly. This is actually the card I'm going to get, but I can't really delay my Trinket Mage. So what I need to do here is play the Trinket Mage, get Skull Clamp, and just hope he doesn't have a Thought-Knot Seer on the first turn, and I'm basically fine. Still, it's not great. The matchup feels pretty weak, to be honest. But it's fine. We're fine. I'm just going to play the name Wasteland, because even if we has a better something more useful, I can still bounce it with with outcome and name something else like Arcbound Ravager. And now we wait until we draw into outcome. Do I want to force this? I probably can let it resolve. So end of turn I'm going to cast a Snapcaster Mage, just to draw some cards. Now I guess I want to cast Brainstorm, which finds me... I don't really need Force anymore. There's just better options. And Repeal allows me to bounce at least one spell. One annoying permanent, rather. So even if I draw outcome, I can bounce his Sphere at end of turn. And then proceed to probably win the game. Because drawing 5 cards with this amount of mana is already pretty decent. And Trinket Mage finds another mana source. Yeah, sure. I guess he has a spell that costs 5. This is really odd play, because he should know there's nothing better than Sphere of Resistance. Yeah, sure. Why not take my win condition? Oh wow. I guess he doesn't really understand the matchup. Because I don't want him to exile my warrants. I just cast it for value and skull clamp some tokens. Oof, this is strong. So here is why skull clamp is in the deck. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I just cast this for 0. Play Academy 2, 4, 6, 7. So I end up floating 3. Idiot. I don't know about that, man. There we go. This is fine. Bunch of fast mana and an outcome. This is definitely a keep. Still fine. Can work with that. Can live with that. The only question is, I think I'm going for it. Honestly, it's not a bad play. Lotus is not that important in this deck. And now I have Rack and Ruin and can outcome for 4 on the next turn. Or the turn after, rather. This is fine. I boarded in a mountain. I'm fine. But you could see clearly in the last game what outcome did, rather what Skullclamp did in this matchup. It just stalled the game, prevented him from attacking. And the Warrens was kind of a lucky draw, I guess. This is fine. This is a-okay. I think I already won this game, to be honest. I don't really see him coming back from this. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I don't need all my mana for Wreck. It's kind of annoying. Losing Mana Crypt hurts a little bit, but it's not a big deal. I already have a decent amount of artifact mana. So my plan is to Rack and Ruin on the next turn, and then in my turn cast Outcome, Erayo, flip Erayo, and proceed to win the game from there. Because a flipped Erayo is actually insane against these decks unless they have Cavern of Souls, which he doesn't, so I'm probably fine. Mountain, there we go. 5 mana. Poof. And poof. By the way, it's quite important that this is Rack and Ruin because of instant speed. Especially relevant when you're up against Tanglewire. I'm quite fond of Rack and Ruin in this deck. So Storm 1. I draw 4 cards. Ooh, interesting. Two, 3, and 4. Now we can see Rayo's magic at work. Just prolonging the game. He can't really afford to cast anything at this point. He needs a lot more mana to even resolve a single spell. And this is a very small clock. I'm not too worried about it. And I think I just won the game. Probably. Very likely, I guess. Storm count. Four, 5. Float 1 colorless. Storm 6. Draw 6. This is the point where outcome becomes really threatening. As in, it's quite possible that you just win the game on the spot. Let's mess with him a little bit here. Fair enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is probably wrong, because it means that I can't play with Academy in this turn. But the game is basically over at this point. There's nothing he can do, literally. And there we go. I'm actually not going to record the second match because the matchup is not that relevant, to be honest. So I'm just going to play the game and hopefully play against someone else in the next.